Hello, this is Gerald. I'm a cancer survivor now for 5 years, and I will be joining other people that were being treated 5 years ago when I was, and celebration of life. My cancer journey began in October 2018 during a routine annual physical. My doctor noticed that my lymph node on my right side of my neck was swollen. He was very concerned about it. I hadn't actually noticed it, and he told me that keep an eye on it. If it's still there in 3 weeks, come back. And 3 weeks later, it was still there. So then once we identified that it was some kind of a mass there, I went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor who did a biopsy and found out that yes, I had tongue cancer. Cancer had actually started in the throat and had moved to the lymph nodes. From that point on, things got a little crazy, and I was fortunate enough to get into the City of Hope facility in Noonan, and that's kind of how it started. I went through 35 radiation treatments, 7 chemo treatments over a 7-week period. The first half of those treatments weren't too bad. The second half of the treatments weren't too good. But fortunately, I was able to get through my treatment, and on June 2019, I had my first cancer-free scan. Quite frankly, I was scared to death when I got the diagnosis, even though I intuitively knew that that was probably the case. You hear the word cancer, and you don't want to hear it, but you hear it. So when I told my family, and of course my wife was with me when the doctor gave us the diagnosis, but when I called family and friends, they were all devastated, and but were also supportive in that I was going to beat this. And my kids just went through, their mother had breast cancer about a year before that, so they kind of knew the ropes, but it was devastating, but yet they were all very supportive. Well, I have to say the one person that gave me the most strength was my wife. After getting the diagnosis, we went out into the car and cried for about 3 minutes. And then she looked at me and said, "We're going to beat this." And that was our mantra for the rest of the treatment time, was we were going to beat it. Kids were very supportive. All 3 of them made the trip down to take care of me at least one week. My 2 sister-in-laws both came for a week at a time, so I had a lot of support. Lisa had a lot of support because she continued to work during my treatment. So I would have to say the most defining moment during my cancer journey was the first day driving up to the City of Hope, and something came over me. It's not that I could hear a voice, but I just had this feeling that this is what I needed to go through. I felt like I had somebody was telling me I needed to give back. And I turned to my wife Lisa and I said, when this is all said and done, good or bad, I'm going to give back to the City of Hope. And I've done that, and I will continue to do that as long as I'm around. So I would tell a new cancer patient to take every day by day and just get through that day and the next day and the next day. But the important thing is to continue to have faith and hope that you will survive this disease. And there'll be some terrible days, and there'll be some days that you feel a lot better, and those are good days. Just keep the faith, keep fighting. That's all I can tell you. I think the biggest thing that has happened to me in my life since having cancer is it was, again, I go back to that moment pulling into the City of Hope, that I've been able to reflect on my life at that point, and I had lost my leg at age 17, which was my first life-changing moment, but I was 17 years old, so never really, it just kept working through it. But what it told me was, and I'd helped some people, I'd mentored some new amputees over the years, but I quite frankly had not done that all that much at that time. So it told me that not only do I need to help people that have cancer, but also reconnect with amputees, new amputees. So I'm fortunate enough to be a member of an amputee support group, which has been very enlightening, and so that I feel good about that, and I continue to be a cancer fighter, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction and makes me feel good. But I think from an overall standpoint, when you go through a cancer diagnosis, every day is a little brighter than it used to be before I found out I had cancer. You just appreciate every day a little more, and I know that's an old cliche, but for me it's the truth. You look at life differently. You're thankful for that day, you're thankful that you're meeting new people, you're thankful that your family's still with you and you're with them. It just feels